Dr. Sampadananda Mishra ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. Dr. Sampadananda Mishra is a professor, Sanskrit scholar, writer, orator and an authority on Sri Aurobindo. He is the director, professor and dean of the culture at the Center of Human Sciences and at the Rishihood University, Sonipat, and an established Sanskrit scholar. He is an authority on Sri Aurobindo and conducts a one-year certificate course on Sri Aurobindo. He is a visiting faculty at the Hindu University of America in USA. He has a number of books to his credit: Sri Aurobindo and Sanskrit and the Evolution of Human Speech, Reading Sri Aurobindo, The Wonder That is Sanskrit. And he has a digital content that he has created on the Veda, Upanishads and Gita in the light of Sri Aurobindo's talks. And he has launched the first ever 24/7 Sanskrit radio called Divyavani Sanskrit Radio. And he is the founder of Samskrita Balasahitya Parishad. Mishra's contribution in the field of children's literature in Sanskrit is commendable. It's a great honor that he is with us today, and I welcome him on behalf of everyone.
So my Shraddhapurna Namaskar to the Rishi tradition, and I'm indeed blessed with so many well-wishers, young and elderly people present here. Very happy to be here for the second time. Last year we had a session on Kashmir Shaivism and the Rishi tradition of Bharat. I feel that Mythic Society has become home for me when I come to Bangalore. Very thankful to you all. They will take care of me when I am here. And thank you, Smita, for the connect. The topic, when I was asked that I have to give this memorial lecture, again the pranam to the great personalities in whose names this lecture series is being organized. So the prompt answer from me was, let's have a session on the civilizational continuity and what gave the foundation to it. Going through the writings of Sri Aurobindo, I have learnt a lot. The kind of insights that he gives to the Indian knowledge system, the Indian culture, the civilizational values, and the way he explains is amazing. So if you ever get time, please read his book Renaissance in India, Ideal of Human Unity, Human Cycle, and all his works on the secret of the Veda, Upanishads, essays on the Gita, life divine synthesis of yoga. It's a practical interpretation of the whole tradition created by our revered seers and sages. I started with a mantra from Rig Veda, and most of the mantras are repeated in other Vedas also, Samhitas. Agne Vratapate Vratam Charisham. And we have put the topic at the quest of knowledge or for knowledge. And our texts are full of go to the Upanishads, go to the Veda, go to the Tantra, go to all philosophical texts in original. You will discover like the unending quest for discovering something higher, something new, something deep, something secret. The quest has been to discover this secret knowledge which lies hidden within everything and me. We believed Achaitanyam na vidyate. That's what our Rishi tradition says, that there is nothing which is devoid of consciousness. A great discovery. And this quest led to this discovery because they carried this in mind. What could be the secret? And this discovery, and there are many discoveries, we will discuss about that moving ahead. The quest, the initial quest that Agne Vratapate, I explained this mantra where lies what quest, what kind of things they wanted to discover, what discipline they created, they followed. So then our rishis of the past, they could create such a great foundation of our civilization, of our culture, that when all the civilizations, great civilizations, they have gone into oblivion, mere name we hear. Indian civilization is the only, one and only civilization which has a living presence and uninterrupted continuity. And every time we discover something of that, we feel, the whole consciousness, the whole heart and mind gets filled in with gratitude to the ancient seers and sages, what they have done in order to create this strong foundation. And we are indeed fortunate enough to be born in this land. Even the gods, they choose this land to be born in the form of avatars and vibhutis. So it says, the discipline I need to follow. Agne Vratapate Vratam Charishyami. Agni was at the center of our worship, our reverence, our shraddha, everything. At the center was Agni. Sri Aurobindo interprets the word Agni as the Divya Sankalpa Shakti, the divine willpower, without which nothing can happen. And just imagine that for thousands and thousands of years we have been manifesting that divine will within us. Because divinity again is at the center. You remove divinity, there is no Indian civilization, no Indian culture. That's at the center. Achaitanyam na vidyate, that chaitanya, that very core, that nucleus is the divinity. We didn't make distinction between the animate and inanimate. Everything is so filled in with that consciousness, that nucleus. One has to become aware of that. And there lies hidden the secret knowledge. And that secret knowledge they call the Veda. And in order to manifest that secret knowledge within, Agni has to be worshipped. The discipline has to be followed. It says, Agne Vratapate, O Vratapati, he is the master, without whose blessings and helping hand, no Vrata can be successful or carried out. Vratam Charishyami, I make a sankalpa. This is what is my aspiration, that I would like to follow the Vrata, the discipline. Tat Chakeyam, then he says, may I be able to do that? Because with human efforts, we can achieve much, but we cannot achieve completion and perfection without the blessings, without the grace, without the thoughts of the divine blessings. So Tat Chakeyam, may I be able to do that? Tanme Radhyatam. So make me eligible for that. Bless me. And what is my Vrata? So herein lies the secret, like why our Rishihood built such a great foundation. What is the Vrata? Just imagine that we are doing Vratas in a very mechanical ways. We all know that, I don't need to explain. But here it says, the Vrata is Idamaham Anrutat Satyamupain. That's the only Vrata in life, that from falsehood may I move towards the truth. That's the Vrata. And in every aspect of life, this was well taken care of, the manifestation of the truth, the discovery of the truth, and following up of the truth. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityur ma amritam gamaya is the greatest prayer that the rishis have given to the humanity. That defines what should be the goal of our life. It clearly defines this is what is the goal of our life. So the first discovery of our ancient seers was this, that the present world, the mind, the matter, the life in which we live, our ordinary life, is not the complete life. This is the first realization of the rishis by following their sadhana. That there is something beyond, something deep, something secret which needs to be discovered. They created that discipline for that. They aspired for that. The quest was for that, to discover that truth, discover that secret. What is that higher? There is something beyond the material life. There is something beyond the ordinary mental life. There is something beyond the life force, the ordinary life force. And they created many disciplines in order to find out why many. This is again another uniqueness of our civilization, that it never confines everything to one way, one God, one shastra, one book. No, multiple. That's why, like when people have no contact with Bharat, its way of living, the law of life, its shastras, they get confused with so many things, multiple shastras, multiple ways of being, multiple disciplines, very confused, very complex. And that complexity, that multiplicity is the very life of India's civilizational continuity. Only Indians can understand. But still, the Indian education system has been such for many centuries at present that we have been imitating the rest of the world in whatever we are doing, and then we have gone away from that rootedness. That is why the new education policy is giving a lot of focus on bringing back this rootedness. We need to bring that change in our education system. So we have gone away. I was hearing this Kapil Tiwari ji. He has a beautiful talk on Bharateeya Jnana Parampara, and he ends it with an anecdote. Not anecdote, he's giving, you can tell that a story, an analogy he gives. He says that a small child goes to the park with the mother, and the child goes away to that much distance from where the child can see the mother and come back to the mother. Then he says, if we need to go away somewhere from our civilizational values, we must go to that much distance from where we can see our mother, we can come back. And we have gone so much away, so far, that we find it difficult. Where is our mother? That rootedness is lost. And we need to work hard to bring it back. So this discovery, the first discovery for our ancient seers and sages, which gives this civilizational continuity, is that there is something beyond. A world which is beyond this world. More beautiful, more luminous. The truth that we experience in this world, there is a greater truth which needs to be discovered. And they put all their efforts in order to find out that higher worlds, the higher truth, the higher life. They discovered that this is the Veda. And Sri Aurobindo, while speaking about Sanatana Dharma, he says the Veda is the foundation, the concealed divinity in the Sanatana Dharma. Without returning to the Veda and understanding the Veda in its rightful manner, Sanatana Dharma cannot be understood. But today we talk, most of the people talking about Sanatana Dharma speak of Puranas, speak of, to some extent, Upanishads, but the Veda is somewhere missing. You hardly hear people talking about the Veda, the practical aspect of it. the real Veda, then you hear some academic talks on Apaurushayatva, this, that, some interpretation. But the practical aspect of the Veda is very well defined and explained by Sri Aurobindo in 3 of his books: Secret of the Veda, Hymns to the Mystic Fire, and Vedic and Philological Studies, which is a later publication, recent publication, where one sees that how the Veda can be made a part of our life. And the Vedic truth has been summarized in a very beautiful manner, very practical manner by Sri Aurobindo in his Secret of the Veda. So I would repeat the summary of the Vedic teaching, the secret of the Veda. Again, we see what gave civilizational continuity, what created this foundation, again lies rooted in this understanding of the Veda, the summary that has been provided by Sri Aurobindo. He speaks of the 4 realizations. One of the realizations which I was talking till now is that the Vedic rishis, they realized that there is a truth, there is a world, there is a light which is greater than the light that we experience here, the truth that we experience here, the world that we live here. This is the first realization. The second realization of the Vedic rishis is that man must find out the way to discover this higher world, higher truth, higher light. The man has to make effort. For everyone, the way will be different. Because each one's swabhava and swadharma is different. What is suitable to one person may not be suitable to another person. So one has to find out what is suitable, what is conducive to my own temperament, my own swabhava and swadharma. Our education system doesn't help us to discover the swabhava and swadharma. Neither the teachers are aware of it. That's why Sri Aurobindo says that every teacher in India, and India truly lacks good teachers, true teachers. One day, like the Bharat was so full of true teachers who built this civilization, who laid the foundation. And Sri Aurobindo demanded, and he spoke about it again and again when he drafted the national system of education. It's available, you can go and read. He said that every teacher has to be a yogi. The yoga, the path of yoga has to be followed. So this was the drishti that he provided, how our education has to be. Every teacher must help the child to discover his own swabhava and swadharma, so then the child can discover his own path, her own path of discovering the truth, finding out that higher world, higher truth. This was the second realization. The third realization of the rishis, what Sri Aurobindo says, that there is a constant battle which goes on. And this third aspect, he covers the entire human crisis, the crisis of the world. And all our crises, right from the beginning till death, he says all existential crisis is a crisis of harmony. When we have disharmony at the individual level, we fall sick. When we have disharmony at the cosmic level, we have many natural calamities, natural disasters. So he said that there is a constant battle which goes on. Constant battle. Battle between what? This is battle between the forces of darkness and the forces of light, the devas and asuras, the positive forces and the negative forces. And man must make effort to get victory over the forces of darkness. The light, the truth, the divinity has to be established in every aspect of life. This is the third realization. And then he says that how that truth can be established, how that victory can be gained. The victory can be gained, Sri Aurobindo explains, our Shastras are so full of that, only by keeping the divine as our constant comrade. Like Arjuna kept Krishna beside him all the times. Without that, the victory is not possible. So, manifesting the divinity in all aspects of life is to keep the divine as our comrade and to make sincere effort towards that. This is the third realization. And the fourth ultimate realization of the Veda. And with this approach, one has to, enter into the spirit of the Veda. Keeping these realizations in the mind, then you see that Veda becomes very, very interesting to study. You will discover so many practical aspects where Veda can be lived in our day-to-day life. It's not by merely chanting some Veda mantras that one lives the Veda. It is by translating the Vedic truth into every aspect of our life, then we live the Veda. And this is where we have to have much effort. So the last realization, the ultimate realization of the Veda, Sri Aurobindo says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. That is the ultimate realization. So Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, that Bahudha, that multiplicity, that diversity. So that's where here one gets confused. You have polytheism, you have theism, you have every aspect, everything is welcome here. Yet we maintain our mutual respect. We have been hearing right from the beginning through various shastras, through the realizations of the rishis, that this world is vast. Vipula cha prithvi. And in this Vipula prithvi, what is our role? What is the role of each individual? Then we find in our shastras that the very purpose of life is to manifest that perfection in every aspect of life, and the word perfection is synonymous with divinity, synonymous with spirit. When Swami Vivekananda says that education is nothing but to manifest the perfection which lies already within, so that perfection is the soul's perfection, that divinity we need to manifest in every aspect of life. And then we have to realize these multiple aspects, this diversity. When Ishavasya Upanishad, that's why like a single mantra of the Veda or the Upanishad, or a single verse from the Gita and various other shastras, it gives so much of understanding of the world, of ourselves, that we don't need to go through many shastras, many books. A single mantra is enough. Sri Aurobindo says that if everything gets lost and only the first mantra of Ishopanishad is retained, that itself will carry forward our civilization for many, many yugas. A single mantra, Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. And what profound realization is recorded in a single mantra. And Sri Aurobindo has written a 700 pages commentary only on 18 mantras of Rigveda. Ishopanishad. 18 mantras of Ishopanishad. 700 pages commentary. So that means that much knowledge is hidden in those mantras. So the discovery of this, that we have a role to play, we have to follow a discipline, create a discipline conducive to our temperament in order to realize what lies beyond. The second aspect, second element of our civilizational continuity is the discovery of another important element, which is a rhythm. The concept of rita, which gets translated into the idea of dharma later. And this rita, again, it helps us discovering the rhythm, the law of life, again conducive to every individual, every community, every nation, ages after ages. That's how the rita manifests. The yuga dharma, the kula dharma, the Rashtra Dharma, everything is rooted in this idea of Rita. So to understand the secret of the civilizational continuity, we need to understand this whole idea of Rita that is given. And the Veda speaks of the idea of Swadhamma, another idea, which is very profound in the Vedic realization. Swadhamma means one's own home. One's own home. Vardhamanam Svedame. You'll find this expression in the first hymn of Rig Veda, where the ritualistic interpreters will translate that Agni growing in its fire room. One's own home is the fire room of the priest. No. The Veda itself speaks of this Swadhamma as Satyam, Ritam and Brihat. Satyam is our existential truth, the static. The sun rises, the moon rises, the sun sets, moon sets, the earth exists, I exist, you exist, everything exists. The existential truth which cannot be denied is the Satyam. But once we realize this existential truth, this static truth Satyam, the next step is to make that Satyam dynamic. Bring order and rhythm into it. That dynamic, rhythmic truth which puts everything into action, ordered action, is Rhythm. Rhythm brings rhythm. Rhythm brings dynamism. Rhythm brings purity. Rhythm brings order. So that has to be translated into every aspect of life. And this idea of rhythm again gets translated into dharma. Later period, the Puranas and other texts, in the later phase of our civilization, we don't use the word rhythm, but we use the word dharma. When dharma is that, anything which creates a disharmony in the community, in the individual and in the collectivity is adharma. Anything which gives the feeling of darkness, frustration, dejection is adharma. That means there is something, some adharma that I need to get rid of. Dharma is all about light, pure light. Dharma is all about perfection. Dharma is all about harmony. Dharma is all about positivity. Anything which is against it, in contrast to it, is adharma. That's the broader idea about dharma. But then there is the local dharma. You have sadharana dharma, you have samanya dharma, specific dharma, so vishesha dharma. Those are different definitions, and dharma also differs from place to place, time to time, person to person, depending upon the sthana, kala, patra. But the universal dharma, the core idea of dharma is that we must live in harmony. Harmony, beauty, perfection, divinity, truthfulness, these are the central aspects of dharma. What is contrast to it is adharma. And that is the idea of Rita that we need to translate. And the rishis of the past, they could show us the way how to translate. See, all the shastras do not prescribe. They show us the way. They are manuals of sadhana. So one is the discovery of the higher truth, the effort that we need to put for discovering the higher truth, what lies beyond. Second is the idea of truth. The third is when it comes to society, when it comes to polity, when it comes to economy, our social, political, economic aspect of life, there we need to achieve perfection, and that perfection meant togetherness. Sangachatvam, samvadatvam, sambho manansi janata. This was at the center of our way of life. So if we have achieved, say, economic perfection, political perfection, we call it, it may be achieved artificially. But if there is no togetherness, if there is no harmony, again, so it will collapse. So India, or you say Bharat, right from the beginning, was never a poor country, economically very rich. In fact, this was a question which was asked to Sri Aurobindo by his brother Barin. He said that if India was rich materially and spiritually, why did it decline? Why did it decline? And there can be many reasons, but Sri Aurobindo points out to another reason, very profound reason. He says somewhere we lost touch with the creative force which created the foundation of our civilization. We lost the original thought power. We lost contact with everything that is original. Our original shastras, original language. We lost contact with that, the source, which needs to be revived. That's why when he is talking about, Sri Aurobindo is talking about, like, what will be our task? He said the very first task of every Indian is to recover, or collectively, this is the task, that recovery of the spiritual wisdom which we have lost. And then allowing that spiritual wisdom to percolate into every aspect of life. And then utilizing that spiritual wisdom to bring solution to every crisis that we face. These are the three tasks that Sri Aurobindo speaks about. So we need to have that idea of unity, united nation, united country, unity. And then we also have to think about the another important element of our civilizational continuity. What Sri Aurobindo says is this original creative force. And while speaking about Bharat and its civilizational continuity, he says that India has not spoken her last word. There cannot be last word, it will continue. So the India is not dead. He uses the word, India is not dead. It has a lot to contribute towards the well-being of the whole humanity, the welfare of the whole humanity. He speaks of the religion of humanity. He speaks of the universal love, universal harmony, universal truth. And that is what we need to establish in every aspect of our life. When we turn to the Upanishads, we get the right kind of insight what was the quest and then how did they achieve it. You can see that unending thirst for knowledge. That's what you discover, like Upanishads differ from the other texts because of this quest. Every Upanishad is a samvad between a Shishya and a Guru. The Shishya poses that I wish to learn about this. And then the Guru says, yes, I will teach you. Shows the path. Adhihi Bhagavu. Says that go and teach me. Narad reaches Sanat Kumar and then says that teach me. Sanat Kumar is confused. He said, Narad is such a learned person. What he wants to learn from me? So he asks him, like, what have you learned? He said, I have learned everything. All Shastras. There is nothing on the earth which I have not learned. Then what else you want to learn from me? See, this is where lies the truth, the secret of our civilizational continuity. So he said, though I have learnt everything, the Vedas, Upanishads, Shastras, all kinds of Shastras, yet I am not happy. Right from the beginning, if you see, our quest has been to discover the Shashvata Sukha and Shashvata Shanti, the eternal happiness and eternal peace. not temporarily experiencing it, but fully establishing it in life. So then there is no return from that, a fluctuation in experiencing or in realizing the eternal happiness and the eternal peace. Tesham shashvatam sukham netaresham. Tesham shashvati shanti netaresham. The science has to believe in it. The philosophy, takes it forward in its own way. The religion takes it forward in its own way. So if you look at the quest, the science in Bharat, it had its own formula, own method of discovering that peace, that happiness. The philosophy here had its own method. The religion had its own method. So every branch of knowledge, it created its own discipline of discovering that Shashwata Sukha and Shashwata Shanti. That's why Narada says, though I have studied, I am a very learned person. I can quote Shastras verbatim, but I do not have the happiness. I am suffering. He says, what do you want from me? He says, I have heard that Tarati Shokam Atmavit. That only Atmavit, the one who has the realization of the self, can overcome all sufferings. And I do not have the key to that. And my Shastras also have not provided that key to me. That's why I have learned the Shastras, but I do not have key to how to overcome the Shoka. Brahmavit Tarati Shokam. Atmavit, Brahmavit. So teach me that. Then Sanat Kumar gives him the lesson. And this is what you find, that Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is very well defined by Sri Aurobindo. Self-knowledge, world knowledge and God knowledge. These three things combined is called Brahma Vidya. When you turn to the Upanishads, it helps you to discover yourself. It helps you to realize the self-knowledge. It helps you to understand the world. It helps you to understand who created the world. What is the force behind this creation? Self-knowledge, God knowledge and world knowledge is the Brahma Vidya. Then you find this unending quest in the lives of many rishis, many acharyas. And there's a long tradition of the acharyas, long tradition of the Guru-Shishya. Not just the Guru-Shishya relationship, but what came out of that relationship. What was the result of Uddalaka being accepted by Pravahana as his Shishya? Or what came out of the relationship between Narada and Sanat Kumar? What came out of that relationship between many Gurus and Shishyas? The parinama of that. That is what you will find in the Upanishads. That's why Upanishads are not just the texts where you will find the knowledge, but they are the manuals of sadhana. They show the path by which the truth can be discovered. The way is shown to them. Now you have heard the story of Shvetaketu, the story of Satyakam, the story of Nachiketa, the story that you find, the story of Uma Haimavati in Kenopanishad. The very first mantra, first two mantras of Kenopanishad again defines what was the quest. Look at the beautiful question that it says, Kena, by whom? Impelled. My indriyas function. My hands move, my ears hear, my eyes see. What is the secret of that? Who makes it function? Who makes it move? Then it goes on explaining what is that force without which nothing can happen. What can be a profound question? than when the disciple asked, teach me that knowing which all is known. Kasminnu khalu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. We wanted to discover that one thing, knowing which all is known. What can be a profound question? What Uddalaka asked his own child, Shvetaketu. Uddalaka asked him that you say that you have learnt everything, there is nothing under the sun which you do not know. But can you tell me that knowing which the unseen can be seen, the unheard can be heard, the unthinkable can be thought of. Jena adrushtam drushtam bhavati, ashrutam shrutam bhavati, amatam matam bhavati. What profundity lies in these questions? He said, if you do not know that, then all your learning is a wastage. Shouldn't we ask this question to ourselves after being qualified and then studied in so many, prestigious universities and then getting all prestigious awards and written books? Shouldn't we ask this question, but have we found that truth, knowing which the unseen can be seen? We do not ask these questions. That is why there is a need, immediate need, that we have to go back and then build our contact with the original content that has been given to us, that has been recorded in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, in the Puranas, in the Itihasas, in the Tantras, in the Darshana Granthas, in all kinds of texts which are given to us by our Rishis. It is almost imperative for every Indian that we have to know what is the secret of being an Indian. What is Indianness about our education? What is Indianness of being an Indian? If we can discover that truth, then we can truly understand what gives us this civilizational continuity. Language is another contribution. We have multiple languages and we keep fighting about languages. We have a huge linguistic crisis in this country. But a country again which linguistically rich, we claim that, we feel proud of it, but at the same time it is a matter of regret that how we have lost our own languages. How many people speak Shuddha Kannada, Shuddha Hindi, Shuddha Odia, Shuddha Tamil? Where is the Shuddhata? Where is the purity? I give this example in almost every workshop, every speech of mine. I literally heard a girl saying to her friend, मैं तो as far as possible pure Hindi ही बोलती हूँ. That's the purity which is maintained of every language. You see how many English words without which we cannot manage our language. What happened to our own words? And then we have lost faith in the divine origin of our own languages. Look at all the linguistic courses in every university. No linguist of the present time will teach you about the divine origin of language. We are all laughed at if we say that Tamil was created by Shiva or Sanskrit was created by Shiva or it is the gift of Saraswati. You cannot talk about it, but unless and until. But that one thing again is one of the prominent elements of our civilizational continuity, because we believed that everything had a divine origin, including our language. We have lost contact, our children have lost contact with Sanskrit. That's why the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram in 1967, when she was addressing to a group of teachers, so what languages to be taught in the ashram school, in the afternoon classes, she said that as every child born in France has to learn French, every child born in India must learn Sanskrit. That gives identity to every Indian. I mean, you can learn so many languages, it doesn't matter, but every Indian has to have some contact with Sanskrit. Why Sanskrit? Again, it's a vast topic. Some other day maybe we can talk about why do we need Sanskrit? And in my own effort, my own grand vision is to bring Sanskrit, because I was very much inspired by this statement of the mother. And from that day onwards, this is my sankalpa, that if I can bring Sanskrit to as many children as possible. So I give a lot of time and energy to create content, the child conducive content. And I wish that every school in India must have Sanskrit right from the playgroup. If we are introducing Sanskrit from class 6, class 5, by that time the child is already formed. All the cognitive abilities and faculties are formed. But if the child is given Sanskrit right from the beginning, because of the scientific nature, the scientific arrangement of the sounds and the syntax is so beautiful. I gave this example of how there's so much of profundity in the very structure, the way the language is designed. I gave this example of passive voice. In most of the technology today, if you type a passive sentence on your mobile phone or on the computer while writing email or writing a WhatsApp message, it will get redlined. The technology doesn't wish that you should write a passive sentence. It's very consciously getting eliminated from the language. Point 1. Point 2, that passive is not natural to most languages. Almost all languages except Sanskrit. Not even other Indian languages. Passive is natural. You can try it in Kannada also. If I have to give an example, please translate into any Indian language, मैं हंस रहा हूँ. Give a passive form of that. It's not possible. मैं सो रहा हूँ. I sleep. Translate it into Kannada and then try to get a passive form of that. Not possible. It's very artificial. Because passive is not natural to the conventional languages and most languages. But Sanskrit is designed in such a manner that passive is natural. You can have a sentence in Sanskrit, passive voice, for I sleep. Maya shiyate, maya hasyate. It's very natural. And most of the texts you see, passive sentences, you will find maximum passive sentences. Because here language is, the design of the language is not devoid of that fundamental truth for which the whole effort was to discover. What is it? Divinity. Again. So here, when you are using the passive sentence, that it is not I do, it is done by me. I am just an instrument. Prakritya kriyamanani sarvani karmani. Nimitta matram bhavasavya sache. Why do you think that you are going to do? You are going to kill. The active sentence creates this sense of, egoistic sense that I do. I alone can do. Without me nothing can happen. I am indispensable. But the passive, a constant or conscious use of passive sentences generates that sense of humility and generates that sense of instrumentality and shapes our consciousness, helps us in our sadhana. That is why Sanskrit has to be a part of our life. And it is Sanskrit, again, because of its very conscious design, that has helped in the civilizational continuity. It's a great force. There are many components about which we can discuss, but these are few things which I wanted to share with you, some key points, what gives the civilizational continuity. Thank you for listening to me, and then invite